Can you please state your name and your position here at the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation?
Okay, my name is Ruth Hans, and I'm a Director of Development.
What does your organization do?
Well, we're actually a chapter of our national organization. We're the Kentucky West Virginia chapter, and what we do is we, through different fundraising events, mostly Great Strides is our main fundraiser throughout the country. It's a walk, typically held at a park or some other location where people can walk, and basically they get teams together and they raise money, and all the money goes to research and development of therapies for people dealing with cystic fibrosis. That's mainly what we do, is fundraising.
Who do you primarily help?
We help patients with cystic fibrosis. Like I said, our chapter is the Kentucky West Virginia chapter, so we're here to help anyone living in the state of Kentucky and most of West Virginia. There's a small part of West Virginia that we do not help because our Pittsburgh chapter helps that area because it's closer to Pittsburgh. But that's mainly we help anyone that's living with cystic fibrosis, including family members that are taking care of someone with cystic fibrosis.
Okay, what services do you provide?
Oh goodness, well, we technically don't provide any services per se. Our national organization does provide patient resources. There is a patient resource center that people can contact that can help them, if someone maybe cannot afford the medication they need to be on or something like that. We do have a patient resource center. There's also, we have a patient advocacy part of our organization does patient advocacy, and that's if they're dealing with any kind of legal issues or anything like that that maybe that they have to speak to someone about. So we provide a lot of different things. I mean, we don't technically here provide them, but our national organization does, and we support our national organization as well as we have 2 care centers in Kentucky, one at the University of Louisville and one at the University of Kentucky, as well as a care center in Charleston, West Virginia. And we help support the care center by these funds that we raise. Some of the funds do go to the care center. The care center helps with the actual taking care of the patients, the therapies and stuff. That's through doctors at the care center. So we help support that.
Okay, what is the most difficult part of your job?
Oh, the most difficult part, I would have to say that we meet a lot of families that are dealing with cystic fibrosis, and I mean, cystic fibrosis, if you're not sure what that is, it's actually a genetic disease. You are born with it. Typically, these days, it's actually part of the newborn infant screening, so most of the time a family will find out that their child has cystic fibrosis when the child is born. So the difficult part with all of that is that we get to know these patients, we get to know these families, and a lot of times, because it is a deadly disease, I mean, people do die from it. We get to know these families and patients, and then they're no longer here. They pass away, and that's really difficult to deal with.
What do you feel is the least understood thing about the people you serve or about your organization?
I don't think a lot of people really know what cystic fibrosis is, only because it's a very small population of people that have it. In the United States, there's about 30,000 people that have cystic fibrosis. Now, there's a lot of people that are a carrier of the gene for cystic fibrosis, but it's a recessive gene, so it's not necessarily if you are a carrier will you have the actual disease. So I feel like a lot of people don't understand the disease. It is a lung and digestive disease. It doesn't just affect your lungs, it affects your digestive system too. So that's probably something not a lot of people know.
What do you think might help people better understand this?
Probably getting involved. We do a lot of events in our chapter. We have, just our chapter alone does about 20 events a year, and they're throughout the, like I said, the state of Kentucky and West Virginia. So, getting involved in the organization would be probably the best way.
Okay. What are some factors that contribute to this happening?
Oh, well, like I said, it's a genetic disease, so you're born with it. So there's not really, I guess basically 2 parents would have to have the gene, and then there's only a small chance if they both are carriers of the gene that their child will have. It's like a 25% chance. So don't know if that answers your question, but
Okay. Who do you feel has the power to change this situation?
well, a lot of our families, most of our families are involved, but there's some that aren't. And I know it's probably difficult for some of them to be involved or that involved because they're already dealing with a horrible disease and have to do treatments and that kind of thing. So if some more of our families would get involved, that might help us.
Okay, that's all. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
No problem.